Hey guys, Duke here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the LBX 0300 plate carrier system and discussing sort of the various things that I've done with it and why you should or should not buy it. Before I get into this video, I'd like to make my usual disclaimer that I am not a typical gear reviewer. I typically focus on CBRN protective equipment, and so my view on what a personal kit should be is perhaps a little bit outdated at best. But nevertheless, I'm going to be discussing the various mechanical aspects of whatever I do get and determining the best and worst of each one from an objective standpoint. So, right off the bat, let me just say that LBX is pretty touted as a airsoft specific company. It is essentially the more budget-focused sister company of London Bridge Trading, and so you do have a bit of a trade-off when it comes to quality and manufacturing standards. The LBX 0300 plate carrier system is essentially, in essence, a lower quality downgraded version of LBT's 6094 plate carrier system, which I would totally recommend to anyone if that's the system that they want to go with. I would not cheap out and get the 0300 for various reasons, which I will get into. But essentially, the reason I picked this up is I'm still kind of experimenting with what I want in my kit, and I didn't want to make the full investment and just wanted to dip my toes into what the 6094 platform could offer, and it would help me give you guys some good insight onto why or why not you should buy this plate carrier. But it's also a good demonstration of what this carrier can do with its limited capability as a lower grade commercial knockoff. Well, not knockoff, because I say that, and it's actually held to roughly the same quality standards as the 6094, with the only caveat being that there has been a few features reduced for cost effectiveness, and also it is made of American materials, but it is assembled overseas, so it is not Berry compliant. So if you're wanting to buy American, buy LBT. The LBT 6094 is a very popular plate carrier system due to its sheer modularity, although there is a few things which I personally believe it could do better, but that's kind of a given with any plate carrier based on your own subjective standpoint. I wanted this for scalability. The vest that I was using before this was the Bay Systems RBAV plate carrier, the RBAV SF to be specific, and while I did like the overall rhetoric and ideas that carrier had, it was just too... Milsurp carriers, in my opinion, they're just not the best. They tend to be a bit floppy. They tend to, there's just lots of things wrong with them. And I'm not going to get into everything that was wrong with the RBAV because that isn't the focus of this video. But the 6094, or in this case the 0300, is a definite step up. I suppose many of you are clicking on this video to find out the differences and what is lower quality per se, so I will go ahead and right off the bat and point those out. The 6094 differs from the LBX 0300 here in the aspect that the 0300 does not have a kangaroo pouch up front where you could store magazines without the need of any external pouches. It does not, the 0300 does not have any Velcro on the internals for attaching a neck protector or any sort of throat and neck armor along that region. And it also has a much downgraded Cummerbund system, which, as you can see here, I've attached the Blaze Defense quick release tubes attachment, which I would not recommend getting if you're going to get a 6094 or any other similar modern plate carrier. The reason being is that the Bees Defense TSP Cummerbund is far more cheaper, and the only reason why I have the Blaze Defense one is because I had bought this when I was running the RBAV, and you can't exactly replace the Cummerbund on an RBAV as it is proprietary, so I needed an adapter. I will probably be reselling this eventually, but we'll see. Anyhow, those are the main two differences. Other than that, it does have a limited lifetime warranty on the stitching, and so I don't really see any problems with quality. Really the only gripes, again, are the lack of kangaroo pouch, the lack of internal Velcro, and the Cummerbund, which again I would recommend replacing anyways because they're alright, but just the default Cummerbunds on any plate carrier are probably something that can be improved in any case. So let's take a look at what I'm done with my particular plate carrier and basically what I think on the design. So overall, the plate carrier is very interesting because it's the difference between this and older plate carriers, whereas older plate carriers were kind of sized based on your body and somewhat universal as to what plates they could carry because they were based on the older sappy cut system. The newer plate carriers, such as this, have their sizing based on what type of plates they can hold. So obviously this is a medium plate carrier, so it is designed for medium E-sappy cut, and it can fit an older 10x12 sappy cut, but that's nevertheless it is something that you should consider is that the sizing is based on the size of plate that you're going to put into it, and so you should research what type of plates you're expecting to buy for this thing based on your body type. So the adjustability is pretty decent. I do wish the shoulder straps could be a little bit longer, but really they don't need that much adjustment. They seem a bit fiddly at first, but once you've got them adjusted to your specific height, it's not really too bad, in all honesty. The Cummerbund, again, is something that I would definitely replace, as I've said before. Nothing to really say about that. The Cummerbund on the 0300 here is very far downgraded from the 6094, as it lacks the internal plate pockets and any sort of pouches. It's very flimsy. There's nothing to this Cummerbund at all. It's nothing that you would really go back to at all. So the main thing that I really like about the 6094 style platform is the amount of cable and comms retention that's featured integrated into the design, especially these sort of oblique angled PTT loops here is what I call them. They could be used for hydration and other things, but what I like to do here, as you can see, is just looping your PTT onto those, and this is where the shock cord technique that I mentioned in my Nexus U94 video comes in real handy, is to just loop it through the mounting screw holes and loop that through the PTT retainer on the vest, and that works a hell of a lot better, in my opinion, than the Faro Concepts PTT retainers, at least for me personally. There's other types of MOLLE where those could be more applicable, but here you don't really need those. The shoulder straps can accommodate hydration tubing, even the thicker CBRN tubing as I currently have here. And as you can see on the back here, I have the Core Ice Plate Curve. I definitely recommend one of these as your hydration solution. They are a lot less cumbersome, or at least a lot lower profile than a typical Camelback hydration reservoir or similar designs of that nature. And I have upgraded mine quite a decent bit. Obviously, I've installed the CBRN Camelback tubing on it, and then I've also modified the straps personally so that they are much more easy to remove, and they are quick release, as you can see. They come quick release by default, but just the way you can install them is a lot easier on the way I've modified it. And obviously, as you can see, I've done I'm not going to go into the full detail of how I did this modification, but I've upgraded the straps on my ice plate, so it integrates with the vest a lot easier. And you may also notice the Paraclete C420 pouch. Not really an important thing, just in case I am running the C420 with the kit. I will have this on there at all times, but when the blower is not in use and I'm carrying my M53 in standard APR mode, this blower pouch would just be on the back there, and I would have my Tactical Tailor removable operators pack just stowed over top of this, and it can be crushed and folded up, and it doesn't take up that much room. So that's my rhetoric with that. Moving on to the front here, you can see the big chunky Blackhawk AK/M4 magazine pouches, which are pretty much a commercial knockoff of the Eagle Industries DG LCS, I believe it's called, the 3x2 magazine pouches, which are famously used by NSW, to my recollection. These are a little bit harder to find. In fact, I actually got a good deal on these. These kind of just popped up while I was looking for mag pouch solutions, and it's like, wow, these are chunky and unique. I kind of want these, and picked them up for like about $20. And it's like, I later realized, like, oh, these are pretty much only existent on the European market now. These are kind of like drying up, so nothing to really shake a stick about there. Not really something that I would recommend to most people, especially if you're going lower profile. This would get in the way if you're going prone. But meanwhile, my kit rhetoric is basically about scalability, and so I kind of don't mind having the extra ammo capacity, especially while the side plate there is a lack of side plate pouches on the vest. Another thing that I have done, aside from the Cummerbund, which, as you can see, I have the Blaze Defense First Spear tube modifications, is I have the Faro Concepts Wingman version 2 side plate pockets, or excuse me, I'm speaking out my ass today. The Faro Concepts Wingman side pouches here, which can hold radios and spare magazines, things of that nature. I currently am using one to hold my Baofeng BF-F8 HP radio. I know I have the crappy default rubber antenna on there. I'm currently waiting on an Abri gooseneck antenna to replace this, but that'll come later this month maybe. But anyways, I have that on the right side, just so I can reach across and access the radio. And I know most people have it facing forwards. I have it facing towards me, so that way I can just pull it up, and I would be able to see the keypad and basically just stick it down in there, no problem. I do have a problem with the Kenwood adapter sticking out a little bit. I can tuck this in here if I really wanted to, but I just don't personally, just to make it easier to remove, and so that's what I do with that personally. I may upgrade to a PRC 152 embedder replica in the future, but for now this is what I'm using, and I'm not an expert on comms. I don't really know what I'm doing in regards to comms, so I'm just keeping it there. That's just the way I've run it. Really not much else to say about that. On the inside, there's really nothing to see. Just a smooth nylon surface, which is water resistant. And, excuse me, I am out of frame. So, yeah, really nothing to see here. There's no internal Velcro, as mentioned, so you cannot add a neck protector of any sort if you wanted to. So that's a bit unfortunate, but I don't really need anything out of that. And again, I will more than likely upgrade to either a legit 6094 or possibly even a crye ABS in the future, but we'll see. Another thing you may have noticed is the groin protector, which I have currently added to this vest, which doesn't have anything in it currently. This groin protector that's on here is completely custom made by myself. This was actually what's the word? It's a OTV style groin protector that came with a set of with a steel groin protector plate, which I'm no longer using. I'm trying to replace that with a soft groin protector. But anyways, this was more of just an experimental thing that I did, where I just was like, I'm going to take this very boring, drab OTV style groin protector, and I'm going to modify the hell out of it. And again, there's what I've done is I kind of Velcro it onto the plate backer pouch in here. Because you have two pouches, you have the one for the main set of plates, and then you have one back here for trauma plates or plate backers, and so that would go there. But I'm currently using the trauma plate carrier to hold the custom groin protector that I've made here. I don't have any patterns, so if you guys are interested in making something like this, I unfortunately do not have it. I sort of made this on the fly, but I may make another one, especially because there's some problems with the Velcro here. They're a little bit thin, but you know, they work just as reasonably enough. But anyhow, nothing to really mention about that. What I'm ultimately going to be doing is, again, putting an OTV style large/extra large groin protector panel in this pouch, and then mollying on a external side plate pouch for additional protection. Nothing to see about that, really. I don't really recommend groin protectors all that much. They are kind of cumbersome. I can see their advantage. You don't want to get shot in the thighs or, you know, God forbid, in your groin area. And plus, they do provide a decent bit of armor to your abdominal region that the plate carrier cannot cover down to. So that is the advantage to that. And with the current design that I have, it's easily and readily deployable. Not really much else to say about the design from my point of view. I've kind of discussed everything I do like about it. What I don't like about it is as follows. The main thing are the shoulder straps here. The thing that I would really like is for these to be more like a crye AVS style shoulder strap, where they are 1.5 inches in across, so you can modify these and adapt them to, or at least have them entirely removable, because as you can see, they're completely bonded to the front plate pocket, and they're adjustable with tri-glides on the rear plate pouch. And the problem with this is that if you want to add any sort of quick release system, like how the crye AVS does it, you just simply cannot do that. I wanted to potentially add a set of first spear tubes onto one of the straps, similar to what most people do with the crye AVS, but again, I can't do that here, which is a bit unfortunate. And I know LBT makes a releasable version of their 6094 style vest, but I don't know, there's just, I have an insatiable fetish for first spear tubes, and I kind of want to go with those, so that's just my 2 cents on it. I'm sure you can just as easily get a releasable version of the 6094, and it would just do the same. It would do the same thing just fine. But me being me, I gotta have my tubes. So that's just my 2 cents. Another thing I really do not like is just, and again, this may just be with the 0300, is the thin material that it's made out of. And again, this isn't really a big issue. You're not gonna this stuff isn't gonna tear anytime soon, but it just feels a little bit flimsy in a few areas. A lot of one-ply material, and again, this may just be costs reducing features. I do not have a 6094 currently to compare it to. That may change in the future. But especially the biggest gripe is around the bottom plate pocket here, where you have this quick pull strap, so you can dump your plates in an instant if you really need to. But honestly, I feel like they should add some sort of additional security to this opening here, because what if something snags on here and you lose your plate mid-combat, especially if you're going prone or running through foliage. Just kind of a gripe with me is having that plate pocket just open across the bottom with the release strap kind of dangling out. So that's a big problem in my opinion with that. But other than that, I absolutely love this plate carrier design. I would recommend the 6094 to anyone that's not wanting something super low profile, in which case I would say get a Faro Concept Slickster or even like a crye JPC or SPC. I would definitely recommend this for people running moderate loads. So basically, loads that aren't as heavy that you would need, say, like an AVS or a CPC, for instance, but you definitely are not light enough that you're going high-speed load drag and you don't need a JPC or a SPC. This is definitely something for that intermediate range, in my opinion. So definitely a very good plate carrier design, but in my opinion, I would definitely save up the money and get a 6094 if you're really wanting to run this with this option, especially since the 6094 with its kangaroo pouches does give you the option to be lower profile than how I currently have it here. So you're not having giant pouches sticking off the front and you can go prone, which is something that I might end up practicing with. I do like my beefy little pouches here, but honestly, they probably will cause a bit of problems in the future once I actually start training with my equipment. So keep that into consideration as well. I'm just mostly analyzing things and I've not used nothing in the field here. And so that being said, I will stop the video here and I will give a quick turnaround of my equipment and kind of discuss where I plan to go with my equipment from there. So I will see you in just a second here. Alright guys, we are here and I'm going to demonstrate kind of how I have it set up and how it would be worn. Again, there's better videos out there for demonstrating how you're supposed to wear plate carriers and basically what you want to do in regards to them, but I'm just kind of giving my 2 cents on the 0300 and why probably you should buy a 6094 as already mentioned. But anywho, here's, again, this is where having the quick release function on the shoulder strap would come in handy. Is if you're wearing any sort of comms or a helmet, this would certainly get in the way. Whoop. Can be done. It's a little bit awkward, but obviously. And then, obviously, I love my tubes. I love having quick release stuff, so you don't have to, especially if you have big, beefy pouches up front here, you don't want to have to keep undoing that Velcro, and especially how irritating it can be to undo that. Again, it's not a big issue for most people, but for me it is. I like having my tubes, so definitely recommend getting a Bees TSP Cummerbund for something like this. And that's as simple as that. And then obviously, the comms cable would be routed to my PTT on the side here. I would probably do something better with this cable. Not entirely sure what to do with that yet, because again, I'm still rounding out my comms equipment. And the reason I like to have it right here, I know a lot of people like to have the button flipped around the other way so they can grab it like this. I kind of like doing it like this with my index finger. A lot of people like using their thumbs. That's not me. I like using index finger, so that's convenient there. And then, again, with the helmet, you can't doff the plate carrier while you're wearing a helmet. You need to remove your helmet, especially while there is no quick release shoulder strap over here, so that's a bit unfortunate. And again, LBT does make a version of the 6094 that does have a releasable shoulder strap as well as releasable side cummerbund, but really I'm kind of a shill for tubes, as you haven't already if you haven't already caught on yet. So I would definitely recommend the 6094, but if you're wanting to have a quick release shoulder strap, I would go with an AVS personally. Now, a lot of people will argue that the AVS doesn't, it's kind of a stupid choice if you're running it like a 6094, because really most people will buy an AVS if they're wanting to get full modularity and having a lot of support for their whatever equipment they're running. If you're running a lot of heavy equipment, you definitely want an AVS or even a CPC. But the problem is that I like the idea of using the AVS plate bags and sort of converting them up and using them sort of similar to a 6094. And a lot of people argue, again, it's stupid because you're not getting the full capability out of an AVS. And really, it's kind of subjective. I don't need anything more than the 6094 design, but I also prefer to have certain features that the AVS offers, such as the zip-on rear panels and the quick-release shoulder strap. So that's just my 2 cents. If LBT made a version of the 6094 that used first spear tubes, I would be more open to buying that. Personally, again, gotta have my tubes. I can't stress it enough. I don't know why. It's really stupid. It's not a big thing. I just love the damn things, you know? But anyways, neither here nor there. That's just really my take on it. So, giving a quick turnaround with how I wear mine. And again, this one is a size medium, and I am about 6'3", so adjusting the shoulder straps a bit. They are very stiff when you first get them, but they will break in and you'll get used to them. And again, this is with the LBX 0300. I'm pretty sure it's relatively the same with the 6094, but you get the added advantage of having, very compliant manufacturing and made in the US and the kangaroo pouch and all that. So I'm definitely going to try and save my dosh and get a 6094 eventually, but I don't know, I'll probably still consider an ABS, but really 6094 is all I need, to be honest. It's any little complaints that I have, like the shoulder strap or anything like that, that's kind of a negligible issue that isn't really too important. It's just sort of a user comfort sort of thing that I would prefer, but you know, that's just me. You feel free to have your own opinions on it. I don't really have any serious problems with the 6094 platform for what I would be using it for, but I just, you know, definitely I like the 0300. It does lack in quite a bit, especially in manufacturing standards. As I said before, these are manufactured overseas, although they are given a US inspection by LBT. I would definitely recommend getting, just again, 6094. I can't stress that enough. These are worth it if you're just wanting something cheap and you're an airsofter and you're wanting something made by the brand name company. But for me personally, I just bought this just to kind of dip my toes in the platform, and I didn't want to make a full investment without knowing what I was getting into and making sure I actually wanted this. And in hindsight, I actually do want it, and next time around, I'm definitely going to buy once and cry once. So that being said, that's really all I have to say about it. I can't think of anything that I didn't add that most people haven't already made reviews on with this vest. You can see plenty of reviews by airsofters of this vest. I just wanted to review it from my personal kit building standpoint. So that being said, I'm Duke. If you have any comments, questions, corrections, or concerns, drop them down in the comments below, and I will see you all later.